Welcome to Kahana's Icons. Today we have a very special guest. It's a very serious interview, this one, because we have a man who's had to take some of the most difficult decisions any person could ever make. He is the former head of defense for the Israel Defense Forces. He is Moshe Ya'alon, and he was the head of defense during the Gaza War 2014, and he joins me here today. Welcome. Can I call you Moshe? I know that your nickname is...
I'm Bogie.
Bogie, okay.
Yes.
Can I ask you actually, how does that nickname come about? Because it means something very different here.
It's from childhood.
Oh, is it? All right, so I'm going to call
heroic.
you... All right, okay. Well, I'm going to call you Bogie, of course. Okay. Israel, in its short life as an independent state, has achieved so much. I mean, I think it's got the second biggest IT industry in the world after Silicon Valley. Would you say that the success of Israel has been largely down to living in that struggle mindset, that people are willing to take risk for the future, for tomorrow, for today more? In fact, they're not so worried about tomorrow. Would you say that that mindset is very much inbuilt in the mindset of Israelis because of the environment they live in, and therefore have strived to be so successful in a number of areas?
Absolutely, yes. Most of the Israelis understand that we have a mission. You know, after 2,000 years in exile, to have an independent state, we should take responsibility to defend it, to develop it, to settle it. And I believe that our great success is first of all because of our minds and hearts. It's about knowledge, but not less important, spirit, Jewish values, Jewish awareness, and of course, the readiness to take responsibility because of that.
You had 3 years ago to take the country into war. How difficult was that? You know, that's an incredible position to be in, to have the weight of your country on your shoulders. How difficult was that as a decision for you?
It is a burden, it is a responsibility. But as I grew up from paratrooper to platoon leader, company commander, I gained the experience, of course. Not just expertise, the mental experience, how to deal with it. And, you know, it is a tough job. You have to deal with life and death on both sides.
Of course.
If you send troops to the battlefield, you have to take into account that they might not come back. And then you have to approve airstrike. You have to think about the damage on the other side as well. As a human being, especially as Jewish, the sanctity of life is above all. But you have to make a decision, I call it, between thou shall not kill, and whoever comes to kill you, rise up and kill him first. These two Jewish values are in the heart of making decisions when it comes to life and death. It's quite a burden. Then you have to take into account other considerations, especially in the global situation. There is a need for space to maneuver. In the Six-Day War, the space to maneuver was the deployment of the tanks in Sinai Peninsula or in the Golan Heights. Today, the space of maneuver, part of it is the global situation, the international arena, or even the Israeli internal arena, whether it is legitimate to do what you are going to do using military force. So this kind of complications are in the heart of the main challenges when you have to lead a military operation. But, you know, I found that the best way to judge my decisions, I call it the mirror test. Can I look at the mirror after executing the operation or after making the decision? That's the best way to judge what you are doing. Israel society is very sensitive to moral issues. And of course, they don't want Israeli soldiers killing deliberately civilians. So if this is the case, you might be criticized from home. Of course, it is very close to my mirror test. If I can look to myself in the mirror after executing an operation, I can explain to the society as well why did I make it. So it's very complicated, but when you make a decision, you have to take into account all these considerations. But in the politics, in the international arena, it can be manipulated.
What about your own soldiers? The death of your own soldiers, does that affect you personally?
Sure, anyhow, participating in a war, fighting, it's not good memory.
No.
And I had to fight since the attrition war, losing 3 of my good friends during the attrition war, fighting the PLOs, serving in the Suez Canal at that time. Then Yom Kippur War. And then, of course, operations in Lebanon. I was a reconnaissance company commander in Litani operation. Then I served in special unit in the first Lebanon war, fighting in Beirut again, and so forth. And many special operations all over, in which you had to kill. When I speak about it, I was forced to kill. I didn't have another option, because if they come to kill us,
it's kill or be killed, right?
Them first. That's it. But it affects people from the mental point of view. They can't overcome it for the entire of their life. That's why we have to prepare them, to educate them, preparing them mentality to be able to meet the challenge. But one of my conclusions, which I took it into consideration when I had to make decisions about launching military operations and so forth. Military operation, anyhow, should be the last resort. The last resort. You have to exploit all the other options before launching military operation.
For people outside watching this, people who are not politically minded, but they want to have a bit of you. They want to be able to be bold in their life, to be courageous, to take decisions. What would you advise them? From a man who is perhaps in a different league for making decisions to most people on the planet. How would you advise the average person?
For years, I'm used to meet Israeli youngsters in high schools before being drafted to the military. Speaking with them, I give my personal experience, of course, my personal example. When I decided to do something, in one hand, I try to judge my capabilities as well as my own interest. On the other hand, the interest of the country. In any junction in my life, I didn't forget the interest of the country. And that's the way that I made the decisions. Now, each of us in Israel is a very unique situation, and people should take responsibility. This is our strength. Without good people ready to take responsibility on any field, not just in the military, education, the economy. We enjoy prosperous economy against all odds. Now we found natural resources like the Gaza in the Mediterranean. Until recently, it was a stronghold economy based on minds and hearts, high-tech, startups, and so forth. It's a game. So, first of all, you have to judge your own capabilities in order to make the right decision in what way to go. Then, not to forget that you have something which is, it's behind yourself, the idea of the Jewish state, in our case. And you should think about how can I contribute to my country. Not just to live the daily life and to be happy personally and so forth. To be part.
Be part of the bigger picture is what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bogie, I know obviously you're very busy and you've got a busy time here. Thank you very much for coming on this interview. I wish you the best of luck with your endeavours.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to go great guns. Lovely to meet you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.